What's up, y'all? This is Rom coming back at you with yet another car video. Too many men reject knowledge that they have not personally experienced. I was thinking about that because the other day on one of my regular sit-down videos, I was talking about, I had mentioned that sometimes a man can grow on a woman. Like in general, women make that decision right away whether they want a man. But sometimes a man can grow on a woman. Usually in a situation where, like, she might be in a social circle. It could be any place, a job. Happens a lot on jobs, a church, working at the gym, working out at the gym, yoga studio, whatever. And it usually goes like this. When she first see the guy, I mean, she's like, she wouldn't choose him. But then somehow she gets to know him. She gets to know his personality. She starts laughing and all of that stuff. All of a sudden, this guy is getting her wet. Now, the key to that to understand is if a guy sees that he's not trying, he's just doing him. Because if a woman don't want a man, it's nothing he can do to change her mind. Nothing he can do. But then if she had a place where she can sit back and look at him and watch him, she might see it, like I said, she might see him at first, man. But then she around him and everything, she will be like, sometimes now, because it's very important. It ain't like a regular thing, but he can like grow one. Like he ain't really trying. See, that's the key part. He don't try. He just doing him. You know, she find out more about him. In fact, I've told women constantly they really need to get to know a man. Because there's many a time they might reject a man and then, you know, sometimes they might see him with somebody else and then they start rethinking. I mean, it can happen several times. But the key to it for his part is he don't try. He just got to do him. Because if he tries, he keep trying, she going to keep rejecting him. You know, but, you know, and it could be anything. She might see him in a different type of suit. You know, see a part of his personality that wasn't apparent, that clicks with her somehow, that's on a frequency and stuff. Because I'm going to tell you what, with that thing of ours we call game, there's different levels anyway. But see, one of the things is a lot of times, a lot of dudes on just some basic level. Like one thing that annoys me is dudes be asking some basic level shit. And I'm really like, come on, man. You asking shit that I mastered in high school and shit, you know? But, you know, what it is sometimes what happens, though, otherwise, is that, you know, you say something like, I've been told a story about when a dude they were with a group. Some were select, some were not. Some were used to getting women, some were not. And, you know, this guy was telling the other guys about a threesome, man. Of course, this guy, he had one guy in there was like, nah, that ain't happened, No, it ain't happening to him. But it happens, though. One of the things that any man has to realize is there's levels to it. There's levels of players. You know, because you can get one man and he can't really read a woman's body language or her tone of voice, and he can't really read anything. Okay, he can, but another man can. Sometimes you get some arguments. I've seen some arguments like they be like, oh, that ain't happened. Like, okay, like a famous one, thing with the short stature, right? You get some guy, they might be short statured, and because they ain't getting played, they thinking somebody else ain't getting played. Because indeed, on that video the other day, I had to tell the guy, I was like, look, because he specifically said he hadn't experienced some things. I was like, no, that's you, dog. That's you. Don't reject something. In fact, when somebody tell you something, listen. Because let's break it down. First of all, we do have that select and non-select. How women are not going to treat all men the same way. They just ain't. So if a man said, yeah, he did all this crazy stuff, don't think he's automatically capping. Because the only way you know is if you were with the guy and you were in that situation, you know both people. That's the only way you can say, like, you know exactly what happened. You are an eyewitness. That's the only thing you can be sure of. when somebody tell you they did something, take them at face value until you can definitively, that's my word for today, say that didn't happen, but you can. Because most men are only going to do stuff from their own personal experience. They ain't getting the women throwing it at them. They ain't getting the women who giving them the pussy without spending money. Yet it still happens. Like, let me talk about that money part. You get some guys thinking they always have to spend money, but that's them. Another dude might not have had that experience. I remember when I was talking with this one dude, right? When I was single. And he was talking about how, this in the 90s, how he spent $400 on dates with a woman. And I was like, $400? Because I'm going to be honest, if a woman was requiring me to spend that much money, I wasn't getting it. I was like, shit. I'd take him to at best, taking him to McDonald's and supersize that shit if I liked it. But I was getting some play. Hell, I was getting play. I didn't even have my own place. I'm still getting some pussy. But see, we had two different experiences. See, if you're a guy, you can be around a guy and you're saying, well, no, I don't need to pay. You don't get mad. You don't try to tell him he's lying. You just ask him what he did and see what he did. And then learn the different levels. Because there's different levels to this thing about us called game. Because, let's just say I was having a conversation with some fellas last night. We were talking about that shit. You get some guys like, okay, I'm going to put it out there. You get some guys saying approach, but that's one level, just to approach women, but that's the lowest level, really. Because a man who really got game, he's more like a sniper. He's reading his targets and stuff. He can read the women. He's looking at the women. He's going to determine, okay, what class is she? What class, what style is she? Is she in my tribe? He's going to look at her hair and everything. And it's going to say, okay, she going to do this because of this and stuff. Because, shout out, may rest in peace, Alan Roger Curry. Like, people are talking about mode one. Alan Roger Curry said a couple times he could read women real well. Now, when I heard him say that told me he would go mode 1, but it wouldn't just be willy-nilly. He would read the woman first. He could read that woman's signs. Because, see, a woman will give a sign if she's interested in it. If that woman wants to have sex with you, she's going to give some type of sign. She's going to give some type of sign. Indeed, really at the highest level of game, it ain't even about sex, but it's like, what can this woman do for you? It's low-key pimping. It ain't the same. A man might not put the woman out on the street, but he'll meet a woman and say, okay, yeah, a sex partner, wifey potential, okay, just a friend who got connections. It's like, I can stroke her, or I can make money from her, because it's how it's at the high level. They're like, it's not the man serving the beauty, but the beauty serving the man. You gonna look at the woman, yeah, she beautiful, but what can she do for me? What can she do for me? See, a lot of guys, they at a level where they doing everything for the pussy, but then you get the guys at the higher level, the Goodbars, the maintenance men, the pimps, MACKs, whatever you want to call them. They thinking, okay, not her, and they looking at, all right, is this the type of woman? I'm a reader, okay. Also, too, communication. I had somebody talk about, somebody hit me up. I always get comments from somebody who really don't get it. Like, I had talked about code switching, but that's a language. Code switching is an actual language, because when you're dealing with different groups of people, different contexts, all code switching mean is you can speak that language. Different social classes, they're going to speak in different ways. You might have to code switch with different types of women. the conversation that you have, and shout out Master Teacher BGS for the Octave model, the conversation you have with an 85 or 87 is going to be different from a 92. It's going to be different from a 92. Let me provide an example. Like if you go on the street, or you see like an 87, that's a working class woman, or 85 ratchet woman, though I can't imagine why you would even want to fuck with a ratchet, but hypothetically, let's say you do. One of the things with them is you got to hit them, you got to hit them hard, be direct with them. You run into one, every now and then I would run into an 87, even though my naturals are more 92s. They got fat ass, so you be straight up. You can just say, hey, what's up? What's up? What's going on? How you doing? What's your name? You know, you gotta go straight up with them. You gotta go hard, or they like, look, I'll get into that corny thing in a minute. But you gotta go hard with them. You gotta go hard. You gotta be like, you know? But you get with the 92, shoot, they're more corporate. So you're gonna have to have that regular conversation. Be prepared to like have a halfway job interview. You know, like you dealing with them, like you dealing with more upper class women and stuff. They want to know where you go to school, what you doing for a living, and everything. And, you know, they ain't going to want to hear about, like, the latest reality show, what's going on and stuff. And you might have to talk at when you at different levels, you got to be talking about different things and even what you're doing for fun and everything, you know? But that's just the communication piece. Also, too, with the type of women, like I said, sometimes, you know, some lower class women think you corny. And see, some guys can't figure out, I don't know why they deep down, like they be worried about Pookie and Ray Ray. I'm like, Pookie, that's Pookie and Ray Ray's woman. Don't worry about it. Go up. Go up. You gotta go up. You don't worry about her. Because, yeah, you're going to be corny to them because a lower class woman in a lot of cases. You're going to be corny to them because, well, no, they worried about basics. You know, eating, having a little fun and stuff. But that same man with, you know, upper class woman, he ain't corny. You know, it's even in how you look. Like you dealing with lower class, hey, you may have to have more tats. You know, you may have to have more tats. But you more higher class, that ain't the thing. It's like how you dress, everything. See, that's something else, too, a part of the game. It's like your style, everything, and not just what you're wearing. Because you're dealing with, depending on which group you're dealing with, you're going to have to dress, you got to have a certain uniform when you dress. Your style is very important. A lot of guys don't get that style piece. But see, your style is including even how you cut your hair, you know, how you style yourself, how, you know, whether you have a beard or not. All of that's really going into, all of that is definitely going into how that woman gonna look at you. But once you have that style and everything, you actually have control. You have control. So this different, like, start breaking it down and everything, boom. Even how you walk, how you carry yourself, everything. You know, your posture. Posture is very important. You know, everything. So, you know, the deeper, it's more than just going up and just saying hi to a woman or approaching her. It's like, okay, first you need to read her social class. You need to read her, how she wearing her hair, how she carrying herself. You know, she carrying herself in a more feminine, receptive way or a masculine, defensive way. A lot of guys lose out because they ain't reading that she's being defensive. They just see a fat ass. You know? You know, how is her body like? How she looking at you and everything? You know, how her hair styled. You know, she's smiling, everything. And then what are you presenting? You know? If you present like, okay, back with that example I said, you might be on a job or something. or some social circle, and the woman rejected you at first. She could have rejected you just because she's on a different social class. But then she talk with you and find out, oh, wait a minute, this dude is cool. This dude where I'm at. Like, I remember when I lived in this building in D.C. back in the 90s, we had a woman who was a young lady. She had a killer body and everything. But see, when I was working in the government, I ain't had to dress up. Where we worked, everybody was casual. So I could wear shorts to work. She didn't think I was at that level, the level I was at with the education and stuff, because she would see me dressed like damn, even though I had a larger apartment than her. But her thing was, she was at a more upper class thing. And then she started looking at me different because there was a big thing in it was like a group of young black professionals on some serious shit. And she saw me at the thing, and I knew some people. She started looking at me differently. I noticed that. She was like, oh, wait a minute. You know, she saw me in a suit and stuff. So that's the game. See, it's so much to it. It's so much to it, because you got to think, it ain't just like, oh, I just, wear whatever. Yeah, you can get a certain class of woman. So you got to be looking at her, reading her, and then understanding who you appeal to. Where you at, everything, even speech intonation, and even what you smell like and everything. Women be looking at that, but you got control over which type of women are going to respond to you. What type of watch you going to wear. Like how I'm dressed now, I already know. Like working class women respond, and it is what it is. But if I want to change up, I put on that nice shirt, put on my watches. Shit, it's something totally different. And you got power over that, but it's different levels of game, and then just being able to communicate. I can do the levels. A lot of guys can't do the levels. Wherever they at, they at. Trust me, women are looking at all that stuff. And then you got, like I say, you got to be able to communicate on different levels. But what too many men, like I said, too many men may not experienced all of that. They don't get those levels of game. They don't understand, hey, you can't put women all into one category. And I've said this before. I've had some men say, nah, they all the same. No, they ain't. Have you dealt with it? Because if you question those men, they say, well, if you dealt with those type of women, where are you at? What street you in? A lot of times somebody think, well, yeah, apparently something ain't working, Because like the last couple of days talked about dimes. Of course, you get some, like one dude came on talking about, yeah, man, this hood guy, he was getting all these dimes. He probably wasn't. You ain't going to see too many dimes in the hood, shoot. Because dimes, they rolling in like higher circles, true dimes, because of their beauty. That beauty thing is deep. That beauty thing's a power. And, now some hood guy might be, some Pookie or Ray Ray might be getting at best a 7. Let's just keep it real. Like a 7, because when you talk about dimes, you got to talk about women who could win a beauty contest. Women who can get a following on IG. And that's the minimum. When you're talking about real beauty, so man, it's up there. People just don't get it. People just don't get it. There's so many levels to that shit. But see, a lot of guys think they are, but until you put, I guarantee you, I can put a lot of men in a different environment, and they'd be like, oh shit. That's game too, knowing which environment you're in. That's game too. It's like, is this what I do gonna work in this environment? Yeah, probably, maybe not. But really, it comes down to a man knowing who he is and where he fits. That's what it comes down to. And then knowing where he at, where he fits, what his class is, which women respond to him. That's why I always talk about a tribe. Only men who should have trouble finding out their tribe was real virgins. But if you're a man and you had I would say this, here's a general thing. If you slept with 3 women, you already have the beginnings there, because all you had to do is look at the women, what they have in common. That's all you had to do. Look at the women, see what they had in common. Then you're good to go on the quintessential ball. So, anyway, right? What y'all think about that shit? There's levels to this. And you got guys who, you got guys like me. You got Cousin T-Talk. You got Pimp Guy. You got someone like BGS who got way more game than he might let on, Shoot, you still got videos of Sinful to P out. Still got videos of Alan Roger Curry out. Still got videos of Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels, let me just say something about him. Everybody he got big, like letting the women know some shit, but he started trying to let the guys know some shit. He got started trying to let the guys know some shit. And he was talking about style and image and the power of it. He knew that shit. Seriously. Because, like I said, okay, the situation I said at first, you might be in a social circle, a woman might see you one way, but then you might suit up one day and she treating you different. That's happened several times to me. Get some women, they ain't showing any interest and they ain't out, but all of a sudden I'm suited and shit. They're like, oh, wait a minute, he's looking different. And see, that's why I say, some guys will say, well, she should accept me as I am. Yeah, I wish the world was like that, but you got power. Because if I'm putting on my clothes a certain way, wearing a certain pair of eyeglasses, I already know women going to respond differently. You got power. That's actually giving you power. And it's willy-nilly, you know which women, because you got power, because you already know which women going to respond to you. You got the power. But it's deeper. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of levels to this thing of ours we call game. A lot of levels. And you get, like I said, I mentioned some people, just listen to them closely. Like Master Teacher BGS, he talking about that class thing. Anybody who really want to know some game need to look up any of his videos when he's talking about octanes or take notes. Because that class thing is major. It's groups. And shoot, and you know what? I'm gonna hit y'all with something deep. That's only the first level of the shit. Because you start looking at different groups and everything, different environments, even within the classes. All of a sudden, you're like, oh shit. But the more you know, the better. Like, I just gave y'all some basics. Like, if you want to mess with like a working class woman or 87, 85, a ratchet. Shit, you gotta go hard too. You gotta keep them going. Well, the 85s, they constant, so you gotta keep some shit going with them. Always some excitement with them. 87s, they more stable. They'll look for the more stability. So if they looking for a man, it ain't always just about how sexy he is. It's how stable he is. You basically need to have a 9-to-5 job. Now, you talking about 89s. 89 is a wild card. There's a lot in there. But those women more on a bohemian thing. They ain't trying to go all corporate. So if you got that look or something with them, cool. 92s, shit, those achieving women, they want to know what you working on. You can't tell them you just a bus driver with the 92s. You got to tell them what your plans is to own the company. Seriously. And the 100s, shoot, they in that world with the real ballers, not just the athletes and entertainers, but high-powered men, the men running shit. Like, it's funny when you got these women up here talking about they want a man to make $1 million, but they ain't getting it. They ain't getting it. They need to let that shit go. So, anyway, though, yeah, it's different levels to this thing. As a man, just because you ain't experienced something, don't reject something just because you haven't personally experienced it. That's all you can say. There's so many levels to it, There's so many levels, because I've seen, my favorite is always when I talked about, when I did these 2 parties back to back. One was a pool party with mostly working class and some ratchets. And it was only one woman there in swimsuits who had a flat stomach. I was just like, And she had invited me. But then you got the next night at a party with a bunch of professionals. And nothing, like I said before, nothing but black Barbies in there. The women, the lowest woman was a 7. I'm saying the lowest. She would be consensusly a 7. But these were some fine ass women. And when you can't be like, hey girl, you so fine, you gotta be like, hello, how you doing? My name is so and so Esquire, or I'm in school for this, you know. So it's like, and then 100 octanes. That's a whole other level. And it's like I said, it's just different shit, and that's just on the surface. You start digging in deeper, you like, you know what? I can't be rolling like this. You know? One thing I would tell men is, look, just if somebody say something, just listen. Shit. Unless you don't know if that person lying, only way is if you with them all the time. Like, I get every now and then I'll see a comment or somebody don't believe something I'm saying. I'm like, dude, are you with me 100%? You know, are you with me? Are you rolling with me? Do you know where I live, what I do? Because even now, even though I say I be chilled now, people don't know who I know now. You don't know. Just accept the information. Realize you got to grow. Realize there's more out there. You got to get outside your bubble, too. A lot of dudes living in a bubble. Get outside. Get out your bubble, whatever. All right? So anyway, though, I got to get out of here. I'll get back with y'all. Y'all have a good weekend. Y'all know I'll be doing these over the weekends and stuff. All right? So anyway, I'll holler at y'all.